Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today in your The World in Pictures category of your magazine, we're going to the airport and we're going to buckle up for your first flight.
哇 exciting 终于可以出国了我们今天要讲的是图解世界里面呢，我们准备要 buckle up 就是把你的这个安全带扣好，我们准备要去出发了，坐飞机
And we will start, it's a conversation, it's a dialogue, and right after this break, we'll start it.
好的
Buckle up for your first flight. Heather is asking Bernie about traveling abroad.
Hey Bernie, I just got my passport. I'm so excited for my first overseas trip next month. Anything I should know?
Once you get to the terminal, you should check the flight schedule. That will tell you where to check in. You will need to show the ground staff your ticket and passport, and then you'll get a boarding pass.
Okay.
Then you need to go through airport security. They have a body scanner and an x-ray machine to check your bags. After that, head to customs. The officers will check your documents and put an exit stamp into your passport. That allows you to leave the country.
So after security and customs, can I go straight to the gate?
Yes, but remember to arrive at the airport at least 3 hours early or you won't have time to go to the duty-free shops.
Yeah, good point. What should I do after I browse the shops?
Just find your boarding gate and wait for your flight to be called. Then be ready to board the plane and buckle up for your very first flight.
Okay, as I mentioned, it's a conversation, a dialogue, and there are two people, Heather, which is a woman's name, and heather is a kind of plant. It doesn't have flowers, but it grows on rocks and in some colder countries in fields. Heather. It smells nice. Now, Bernie, Bernard, B-E-R-N-A-R-D, is the original form, but we often add E, the sound E, and it can be spelled sometimes with a Y and sometimes, as we have it here, with an I-E. So we have Richard is the formal name, but Ricky is what we might call Richard, or Robert can be Bobby. It shows that you're close to the person.
OK 所以老师对于名字非常有研究，所以刚刚老师说这个 Heather 应该是芦苇吧，如果我没有猜错，是一种植物在比较冷的这个地方呢会长的。然后再来是 Bernie， 这个就是Bernie 是这个刚才老师讲的这个 Bernard 这个字的一个类似像的缩写或绰号这样的感觉。
Okay, we start with Heather. She greets her friend, "Hey, Bernie." Hey is often used as give me your attention, hello. It's almost how are you? It's a way for friends to start a conversation. And she's excited here. I just got my passport. And this means she's going to travel overseas. And before you can do that, you must have permission from your government and usually the country you want to visit. And there's a little book sort of where information is about you and your picture, of course, but also permission for you to enter other countries.
没错，所以这两个朋友就开始这个对话了。他就说：“我刚刚才拿到我的护照，所以我们要出国，当然就是一个护照。这个护照很重要，就要帮着让你可以出国的一个工具。OK？
I'm so excited about my first overseas trip next month. The first time you travel away from home, a long distance, especially to a foreign country, can be very exciting.
对，没错，我现在就已经 excited 所以他就说我非常的兴奋，对于什么东西很兴奋 about something， 就是我第一次啊，在下个月哦，我第一次就要出国旅行了 overseas 就是到海外的意思，也就是你可以到国外去哦，不是在自己的国家里面旅行，是可以到国外去了，哇，当然非常的兴奋。
Okay, this is a good point that Bernice just brought up by explaining excited. When we have the ED form, it is a feeling of a person, tired, bored, excited, and so on. The ing form will describe the experience or something that makes you feel that way. It's a boring English class with Bruce. Or
No.
it's tiring work to clean the yard in the winter, this sort of thing. So remember that the ED form is your feeling.
Yes.
The ing is the situation.
ED 是形容这个人的感觉，那 ING 是形容某一件事情你对他的感觉。所以呢，我们刚才讲，你不要再说 I am boring， no， 我很无聊，我现在觉得好无聊。Bruce 老师课不对 ，Bernice 老师课很无聊你要说 I am bored。OK， 好，记住了。
Anything I should know? Now, she's asking a very simple question, but remember, she's never traveled overseas before.
没错，他第一次去旅行嘛，难免的，他就说，这个有没有什么事情是我应该要知道的呢？
Now, Bernie apparently has been overseas. He knows what it's all about. So he tells her, once you get to the terminal, you should check the flight schedule. Now, a terminal is a very, very, very large building in an airport where people check in. They take their luggage, they take their suitcases and check them in. They show their airport, and we'll find out some other things that happen there. But the terminal refers to the building. And the first thing you should do is check your flight schedule. Because flights change. The times can change or the gate can change. Make sure you have the most recent, up-to-date information about your flight.
没错，所以呢，这个很可见，他这个朋友应该是非常有经验的，所以他就跟他讲了，一旦呢，当你到达了航厦 terminal， 刚刚老师讲，它是一个很大的一个 building， 这 building 里面呢，基本上就是这些乘客呢，我们要出国旅行的这些乘客，我们会拿着我们的 passport， 我们的行李去做 check-in 的这个动作。所以当你到达那边，你第一件事情要先去检查一下，去查看一下这个飞机的时刻表。为什么？刚才老师讲了，飞机常常呢会发生一些状况，比如说它可能 delay 了，可能延迟了，也有可能它的 gate， 它的登机门会换了，或者时间可能有一些调整，所以你要时不时的第一件事情先去查一下时刻表。
That will tell you where to check in. So, when you walk into the terminal, and there are many, many doors, it's a really big building, they always have the flight schedule. And to tell you what area you go to, maybe even what line that you line up in. You need that information. So if you haven't traveled overseas yet, please remember this. It's very useful information.
没错，所以为什么要先去看这个 flight schedule 呢？就是因为它会告诉你你要去哪边登机。你没有登机，你怎么上飞机呀？对不对？你至少要拿到你的那个登机卡呀，哈。所以呢，它会告诉你，你在哪一个地方，而且里面有好多的航空公司，好多个门。有的时候你可能第一次出国，你刚进入到一个这么大的 building 里面，你可能会 get lost， 所以你要利用这个东西来帮助你。
Right, so checking in is, after you look at the flight schedule, checking in is the next step that you have to go through. And you may have to wait some time because that's just part of traveling, especially overseas. There's a lot of waiting, so don't get angry, don't get disappointed. That's just the way it is. You will need to show the ground staff your ticket and passport. Now, we all know about flight attendants and the pilots. They're in the plane, but there are many people who work in the terminal and don't go on to the flight. They are the ground staff, people who take care of the suitcases, people who check you in, people who give information at the information counter and so on. And then you'll get a boarding pass. When you check in, show them all your paperwork. They sort of change your ticket into a boarding pass. Pass means you can pass. It allows you to go someplace. You board an aircraft. You also board a ship. You board a train. But you don't board a taxi.
No. OK， 所以老师刚刚教你 board 登机啊，或登船啊，好都是 OK， 但是我们不会说登计程车，这样很奇怪。所以他说接下来呢，就是你要去这个 ground staff， 也就是地勤人员，空中的是 flight attendant， 就是空服人员啊，或者是 pilot， 我们刚才讲这个机长。那再来就是有地勤的人员，他们是帮助我们呢去做 checking 的动作，把你的行李啦，还有你的 ticket 换成boarding pass， 所以你会接下来拿到就是 boarding pass， 就是登机证。你拿到这个登机证的时候呢，你待会儿才可以去准备去登机了。
Okay, and Heather simply says, "Och." Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue their conversation. This is between Heather and Bernie. Bernie gives her more information that she needs to know when she goes to the airport, enters the terminal, and checks in. And she gets her boarding pass. So Bernie is starting from there. Then, after you have your boarding pass, you need to go through airport security. Security means safety. Airport security means it's an area of the airport where everybody has to go through, and there are X-ray machines or people looking through your luggage to make sure that this flight will be safe for everyone on it.
没错，因为我们知道呢，一定要保持大家各位乘客的安全很重要，所以接着下来呢，他就告诉他了，你拿到你的 boarding pass 之后呢，你就必须要去通过 go through，通过什么东西呢？就是机场的这个安检。那在这个安检的地方呢，他就会检查一下你的行李啦，然后帮你全身扫描一下，摸一摸，东摸西摸的，看看你身上有没有藏什么东西啊，等等等，这个就是所谓的 security。
Right, so they have a body scanner. To scan is to look at things very, very carefully. It's like a little room you walk into, and I don't know how it works, but they can see everything about you. 不好意思. And X-ray machine, I just mentioned that. That's to check the bags, because X-rays are not good for people.
所以呢，如果呢你要经过这个安检的时候呢，你有几个步骤。第一个，他先在你的身体上面做一个扫描，有的时候他们会拿一根扫描棒在你身上哔哔哔哔哔滴滴滴滴啊，这边就是有什么东西，可能什么钥匙啊，还是什么零钱，有没有 coins 等等等，它就会滴滴滴就会叫，你就要把它拿出来哈。然后再来呢，会有一个 X-ray 的 machine， 就是一个 X 光的机器，这个机器是看你的包包的，所以你的行李会通过这个机器，然后呢，他们的安检人员会看一个那个 monitor。这个 monitor 里面就看到你的行李这样是透明的，里面什么都看得到。对，所以呢，这些东西呢是主要是检查你的包包的。
After that, says Bernie, head to customs. The head is what we use to look at things, and it almost pulls us in a direction of where we want to go. So when you head to customs, you go to customs.
没错，这个 head to 就是指走，我们走的时候头一定往前的嘛，所以就像头这样子哈。之后呢，东西都检查完，你身体也检查了，你的包包也检查了，下一关你就要前进到所谓的海关人员了。这一关我是觉得很多同学都不知道怎么过这一关，尤其到美国的时候，很多海关人员会问一些 weird questions.
Like what?
Like, why are you coming to America? Something like that. And my students were just stuck there. I don't know, because my mom asked me to go to America. Something like that. Okay, 好。
Okay, so the officers, we call people in customs officers. We also call police officers. And some military as well. They will check your documents, your boarding pass, and everything else, your passport again, and put an exit stamp, which means you are allowed to leave the country that where your airplane is, to go outside, and they stamp it in your passport. So if this is my passport, they open it to a page and then they stamp an ink record of something inside your passport.
没错，所以呢，接下来就是这些这些海关人员呢，就会开始去检查你的一些文件，比如说你可能是要出国念书的，你可能需要填什么表格。那还有的第一个就是你的 passport 还有你的 boarding pass 是不是都具备好了？所以他这些都要检查。检查完之后呢，就会在你的 passport 里面，因为我们要把 passport 打开来像一本书一样，然后他就会在上面盖上一个戳章。这个戳章是一个 exit， 就是你准许可以飞到国外的这个戳章，那你盖了这个戳章之后，你才能够飞到国外去。
And as they say here, that allows you, that means this exit stamp allows you to leave the country. Even though it's your country, you have to have permission, you have to be allowed to leave before you enter a foreign country.
没错，就算你是要离开你自己的国家，你也是要得到允许的。这个允许就是盖上那个戳章，这样子你就可以离开你的国家了。
Then Heather finishes this section. So, after security and customs, can I go straight to the gate? Now, the word gate here refers to an area. It has a big number on it, and your boarding pass will tell you what gate to go to. That's where people actually leave the airport to go onto the airplane.
没错，所以呢，接着下来他就说了，他就问啦，那是不是过完了安检，过完了海关人员，那我就可以直接的走到这个 gate， 这是登机门呢？我们讲这个跟登机门 gate 这个字呢，是一个门，然后这个门上面会有一个号码，就是你的班机要在哪一个门上飞机。你走错门，你就走错飞机，你就飞到不知道飞到哪一个国家去了。所以这个 gate 非常重要，所以你一定要去看清楚你的 boarding pass 上面的 gate 写的是哪一个号码，而且你要时不时的去看一下那个monitor， 可能它的 gate 有的时候又会改变，你就算已经 check in 了，它还是会变的，所以要时不时再去查一下。
Yeah, listen to her. That's really an important point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a short break before we finish.
好的。
Well, Bernie starts this last section of our dialogue. Yes, you go straight to your gate, but remember to arrive at the airport at least 3 hours early, or you won't have time to go to the duty-free shops. In fact, 2 hours is usually the amount of time we expect, unless you're going to do shopping, and then, yes, add another hour.
没错，所以呢，大家有时候出国的时候最想要去就是逛这些免税店。他说是啊，你确实可以直接到你的登机门了，可是你还是要记得，你一定要到达机场的时间至少是3个小时，比3个小时前更早。尤其是你可能在一些暑假的时候，甚至要4个小时前，你就要到达你的飞机场哈。否则呢，你就没有足够的时间去干嘛？你要去 duty free shop 买一些这个，买一些那个，有没有比较便宜的东西？你可能没时间逛街喽。
Yeah, good point, says Heather. What should I do after I browse the shops? Now, browse is just to look over things. Maybe you will buy them, maybe you won't.
没错，所以他说是的，你讲的真是个好主意，你讲的真是个重点。那接下来呢，我在 browse 就是去浏览就是去看一看、逛一逛，你不一定会买东西。好，那在这个完了之后，我还要做什么呢？
Just find your boarding gate. That's why that number is so big on the gate. And wait for your flight to be called. There will be a electronic announcement telling you all those who are going to fly to the Philippines Manila airport, please get ready to board at gate 22.
没错，接着下来他说你一定要找到的就是你的 boarding gate， 你的登机门在哪里？我们刚刚讲这个门就是你的飞机停靠的那个地方，所以你要找到这个门，然后呢，接下来你就在那边等啊，等着你的班机会开始叫了啊，他们就会广播说，哪一个班机准备要登机了。通常我们在抵达登机门之前，就是我们要到那个门差不多40分钟、30分钟之前，你最好就在那边等着你的班机来叫你就对了。
Hurry up and wait.
没错，就快点，然后这边等着。
Just find your boarding gate and wait for your flight to be called.
没错。
As Bernie just said, then be ready to board the plane, get on the plane. Board is to get on. And buckle up, remember your safety belt, buckle up for your very first flight.
Yeah, OK， 好，所以接下来你终于到了登机门了，然后也叫到你的班机了，你接下来就是准备好，拿出你的 boarding pass， 准备登机了。登机之后呢，第一件事情要做的就是把你的安全带系好，系好之后，你就可以去参加你的第一次的这个飞行了。
Okay, let's take another break and then we will have our review. Okay, let's now get ready for our review. Our first item is buckle up. We use that a couple of times because it's so important. The buckle is the metal part of the belt.
没错。
Click. And it's the same whether you're in a car, a taxi, or on an airplane.
所以我们坐飞机第一件事要把安全带系好。所以老师刚刚讲那个 buckle 就是安全带中间那个铁片那个地方，所以把它系紧的意思。
Passport. In our first line of dialogue, that is the official little book that allows you to travel from country to country.
就是让你出国的这个通行证，就是这个护照。
Overseas. For Taiwan, every place is overseas, but if you go to Canada from the United States, we don't call that overseas. You're just going from one country to another.
没错，所以 overseas 在这边就是指去海外的意思。
Check in, that means you begin a process.
你要做登记的这个手续。
Boarding pass is something you will get at the airport when you check in that allows you to continue the process of going onto the aircraft.
在你登记完之后呢，他们就会给你一个登机证。
Security is our next item, and we already explained that means safety.
没错，这个字就是安检。
If you head to someplace, you simply go there.
前往的意思。
Go straight to someplace or head straight to someplace. Don't stop. Go directly and quickly to someplace.
就是说你中间没有任何的停留，直接前往什么地方。
Well, if you haven't traveled overseas yet, you are in for quite an experience. There's sometimes some problems with the trip. But all in all, you get to see another part of life and different customs, languages, food. It's a very exciting experience.
没错。
Well, that's it for us here today. Tomorrow we'll be back and the next day, but I won't tell you why until tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye.